So we're going to see if this truly did earn the gold medal in the 2023 World Olympic Gymnastics Bar Event Finals. Hey guys, what's up? My name is Bray. I'm a former elite and All-American gymnast, and I'm currently a gymnastics coach and judge. And here on this channel, we talk about and break down gymnastics videos. Today, we are going to be doing the 2003 World Champion for the event finals on bars in 2023. Did I already say that? My brain is not working today. I think I'm saying her name right. Qiu Qiyuan. I know in China, right? You read it last name, first name. I judge with some judges from China, and I love them. They live here in my city, and they are so fun. They love me. Not to toot my horn, but they do love me. And I love them. They are so fun to judge with. We're very similar in how we judge. We just really call it like we see it whenever we're judging, and I'm like slowly trying to learn Chinese, Mandarin to just kind of like talk to them more. I learned a bad word in Chinese, and I said it to one of the other ones, and she was so proud of me. She's like, "You have wonderful pronunciation." I was like, "Thank you." And come to find out, apparently it wasn't a bad word. Then again, I did learn this bad word on TikTok from a creator who speaks both Chinese and English, and I'm sure other languages, but he was saying that this was a bad word. So I told the judge, I was like, "Don't get mad at me, but look at this word that I learned." And she's like, "Oh, it's actually not a bad word. It's just shut up. It's not like," I thought it was shut the F up, but it just turns out to be shut up. And she was so proud of me because I pronounced it so well. And so I was very proud of myself. So I'm going to keep doing that. It's fun. I like learning different languages. So long story short, she was telling me about how in China, because I was asking them how they pronounce their name in Chinese, and she was saying, we do last name then first name. So for her, it's Qiu Qiyuan, which is, I wonder how that would translate in English. Like, what would her name be? I don't know. So anyways, but technically it'd be Qiyuan Qi, right? Like if I was saying it in English, we do first name, last name, but in China, they do last name, first name, right? So just so interesting. I just love learning about other cultures and how people do things. Just super interesting, and it's fun to learn and to educate yourself on and just be a little bit more, be broader in your knowledge, and it's just cool. So anyways, I think I'm pronouncing it right. Qiu Qiyuan. We're going to watch her on bars. I'm super excited. She's a wonderful, wonderful bar worker. Obviously, she got the gold medal for a reason. So we're going to break it down. And to preference, I don't know much about the FIG code. That's the thing. There's so many codes in gymnastics. The FIG code is obviously the code that we, and if you don't know, I don't want to say obvious, but in gymnastics, if you know gymnastics, it's obvious. The FIG code is what like the world Olympic elite levels are based off of, and that code of points. And it's really hard to be a FIG brevet judge. Is really difficult, and there's a lot of rules. So I'm not one to pretend like I know something when I don't, because I think you look stupid pretending you know something when you don't. Like, people are going to figure you out, so that's silly. So I'm not one to go around and be like, I know the FIG rules, because I don't. And someone even educated me on Kalea, did I say it right again? Kalea Nemours bar routine I just did last week, that she actually didn't get credit for a certain skill because in the FIG code, they have to finish. She did her Dekachev, was it her Dekachev half, where she caught the bar twisted, and they said because she caught the bar while twisting, it didn't get credit. She had to do the twist in the air. I was like, oh, I didn't know that. So like, that makes sense. So, but from everything that I was seeing, the way that Qiu Qiyuan does bars, she had the upper hand on Kalea. God, I can never remember how to pronounce her name. Nemours, her bar, because she had credit for her skills, even though she might not be as clean as Nemours as her bar routine. She had more difficulty and a higher start value, so that kind of helped if she was a little bit sloppier. And I'm not even sure if she was sloppier. I just feel like I remember watching her and then Nemours and being like, oh, Qiu Qiyuan was a little bit sloppier, I feel like. But we're going to rewatch it now. I'm going to see if I eat my words or if I still do feel like she was a little bit sloppier than Nemours, and go from there. But from what I was told, like, Qiu Qiyuan deserved it because she had a higher start value. So the math just worked out better in her favor because of it. So, if you're not starting from the highest start value, like, of course you have less of a chance of winning because you can't give up as many, mistakes. And I just wanted Nemours to win because I think her gymnastics is so clean, but that's just like me, in my opinion, and how I personally feel. It's not personal for any one of them. It's just to the naked eye, I think Namor has a prettier swing. But at the end of the day, that doesn't matter. If she didn't have enough start value and things like that, she didn't deserve the gold. She had to win silver instead of winning the gold. So just to kind of preference that there. But let's go ahead and jump into Qiu Qiyuan's bar routine.
Qiu Qiyuan. The top performer in qualification, her score 14.9. It needs to be better than that to surpass Namor. That's a wonderful skill, the layout Jaeger, the only one in the competition. And then she has the Downy back salto. It really is well performed. How the dismount.
Okay, so this is why I felt like Namor should have won. For Namor, to me, was such a wow factor because she had so many combinations. It plays a little trick, and then she stuck her landing. It plays this little trick in your mind that, like, she should have won. But I definitely see how Qiu Qiyuan was definitely competitive, and obviously she was because she won. Because her first half of her bar routine, there were a lot of connections, but the connections she did, they were really difficult. I mean, did she not just go Ono to Ono or something crazy? So let's go ahead and break down her bar routine now and talk it through. So obviously she does kip cast. That's beautiful. Oh, she does a switch grip into it. So a switch grip is whenever, I'm going to try to zoom in. If you can see her hands when she catches the bar, now watch her as she finishes the kip. As her thighs come to the bar, she hops. You see that? Wrists are hopping to reverse. That's not easy. That's a skill value of itself. What is that? What is that value? You know, I'm not really sure. And who knows if it's even what I think it is in the Fig code of points. So anyways, she does a switch grip to then go into the Ono. That was nicely done. She finishes within the 10 degrees of vertical. Goes Higgins to Higgins full. So that's not an Ono, correct? Somebody taught me what the Ono is. That's the Ono is the reverse to full Higgins, right? So this would just be a Higgins full. Somebody help me. And then do a laid out Jaeger, super hard. What's the name for a laid out Jaeger? Help me. I need to write all this stuff down because it's just so much. It's really, at least I know like what it is, like a laid out Jaeger, a pike, blah, blah, blah. It's just hard to remember the names that they're named after, but I want to remember the names just to be respectful because like you got a skill named after you. I don't want to be a butthole and not remember, but it is hard for me to remember. I have, few learning disabilities, so it's like hard for me to just remember stuff reading it once or whatever. I know a lot of names of skills because I did them personally, but like I obviously did not do some of these skills, right? Because some of these skills came out way after I retired, or I just wasn't good enough to do them, So I just don't remember some of these names, but that's okay. We're learning. Kip cast, beautiful. Then what did she do? She did a Stalder, full. Finished a little bit past the 10 degrees, so probably half a tenth. Again, if the angle of deductions is even the same as it is in the club code of points. And then she goes Stalder, pike to Kochev. And then kip cast, pack alone. So like, see what I mean? She does a lot of combinations in the front of the bar routine. And they're really hard combinations. Like, so I'm pretty sure the jump half is like maybe a B or a C, and then she goes into the Ono, which I'm pretty sure is value at least a D, but I think is an E, right? Into a Higgins full, which is probably another D or an E, and then the laid out Jaeger is an E, and then so that was 4 combinations right there, and then she goes Stalder full, which is a D, right? And then to a Stalder pike to Kochev, which is an E. So that's a big bonus right there. She does the pack alone, which she gets difficulty value, but she doesn't get a combination bonus. And then she gets the difficulty D bonus, but doesn't get a combination bonus. And then she goes into the Shaposh half. I always forget the name of that too. I'm like really bad at this stuff. And then giant, full in, and then takes a little hop. So, it is what it is. If she has a higher start value because of all these combinations and Namor missed out on a lot of stuff because she didn't get credit for it. That is what it is. Like, you got to get credit for stuff if you want to if you want to win, but her first half of her bar routine is extremely difficult. So I want to break that down too. First of all, this skill alone, the switch grip, as she's coming up in the kip, she's literally letting go of the bar right now. Like, that's scary. She has to let go of it and switch those hands quickly to reverse to be ready to cast. She's doing a cast reverse, like a reverse cast. That's not easy either. A reverse straddle cast to get up to the handstand. Now, she's in that reverse, swinging. Right here, she starts letting go with her right hand to twist around the arm. Do y'all see that? That's ridiculous. Look at this. Kicking and then stalling in the air to be able to do the full pirouette into handstand. Twisting around her shoulder. Basically, her shoulder and her socket is just like, that's crazy and hard, and it's just so difficult. And when she does this, she's got to make sure that hand is good enough, the right hand, to land back in this Higgins position, and for that Higgins position to be safe and tight enough to go into the front Higgins giant, and then she goes on that arm again and goes right. I don't understand this. She went Higgins back to Higgins. It's crazy. Watch. So she goes, let's go, because the way she turns. So notice how she's turning. Let me zoom in. Notice when she turns, as she lets go with her right hand, because she's in Higgins, when she turns over that arm, it puts her back in regular grip. And she keeps twisting to go right back into that Higgins grip. And then, okay, I didn't even realize she did the laid out Jaeger from a Higgins grip. That is really hard. There's something about the Higgins grip that just, to me, got me stuck on the bar. Because one time I trained Higgin Jaegers, and one time I couldn't let go of the bar of my Higgins. My dowel got stuck, and I ate that bar in my Jaeger. Ate it. Never did that skill again. I was like, no, why would I do this? Like, what's the point? It's cool. Don't get me wrong. It's fun having tricks in the bag, but I was like, my heel bones hit the bar so hard. I had to walk like a velociraptor for like weeks because I couldn't even walk on my heels because the bone bruise was so bad. And I was like, never again. Like, I'm not an elite. I don't need it in college. Why am I doing this? So not only, look at her head. Look at how her head is sticking. It's technically in, but it looks like it's sticking out. But it's in so far, looking at her toes so that she can ensure keeping her head in. Because look what it does. Do you see this flat line from her hands basically to her waist? That's ideal to keep her from pulling in. Because then once she gets right about here, she's going to let go. And then her momentum's going to, and gravity and the momentum are going to take her right perfectly where she needs to be to do the laid out Jaeger. And look at her arms. So she lets go, brings them off to the side, floats them to bring them back up to catch. She does have to flex her feet slightly. I don't know if it's because she was going to hit or if it's just like a habit. But from this angle, it does look like she's a little close. And you can tell she's close because look how she caught the bar. See how she catches with her elbows bent? That means she's a little bit close. But again, I'm in slow-mo. Hard to see when you're in fast motion unless you're like really know what you're talking about. But she did catch the bar a little bit close. But hey, when you're doing really, really difficult stuff, it's still impressive nonetheless. So as she has to let go, she has to be letting go. Like, look, she's letting go technically right there. So you think like, oh my God, you're too far from the bar. Yeah, but the momentum's going to take her right back to the bar. And she's going to be looking for that bar the whole time. Now going into the Stalderful. I loved Stalderfuls. I did Stalderfuls for many, many years. When you go into the Stalder itself is very difficult. All of this gravity, there got to a point once I reached a certain height, because I grew so much as a gymnast after I retired from elite. I grew so much that my legs were super long. And, I got up to like 135 pounds. And 135 pounds with 7 times that weight on your body, because, they did this, ESPN did this whole experiment on gymnasts and like talked about like how much force is on our bodies when we're doing gymnastics. And they said that it's basically 7 times your body weight. That's the amount of force that gymnasts feel when they're doing gymnastics. So, towards my senior year of high school, I was about 130 pounds. I was 5'7", and I couldn't do Stalders anymore because I had 130 times 7, whatever that is. I'm not a mathematician. Somebody do the math. I had all of that, gravity force that G-force on my arms, because as I'm straddling, the G-force is pushing on my straddle, and my little bitty hands and forearms are trying to hold onto the bar for literally dear life. And I couldn't. I'd peel off on the bar every time. I couldn't even withstand my own height, weight, G-force. So I had to stop doing stalders, and I went on to toe-on, toe-offs. So if you think stalders are easy, you are very blessed doing them, because you obviously can do them well, or you've never done a stalder. And she's doing a stalder, right? I'm not crazy. Oh my God, is she doing an in-bar? Let me watch this in fast motion. I can't even tell. Okay, well, that was a waste of time. She's doing an in-bar. So anyways, that's even harder than the stalder. Honestly, I guess it wasn't a waste of time. The in-bar is even harder than the stalder because it's the same idea of that G-force, but now you're in a piked position. So I would say the, what's the word? Like your center of gravity is, the G-force is better when you're in that piked position, because at least everything is staying in one little circle, like your center of gravity, like, because the in-bar, right, you're in a smaller position, but when you're in a stalder, like your legs are all the way out here, so your center of gravity is spread out a little bit more, and because your legs are out, that G-force has more mass, I guess. I'm not talking like I'm a scientist over here. I don't know. This is all just making like logical sense to me, having done the skills, but that stalder, right, your legs are farther apart, so I feel like the G-force has more surface area to kind of push your body down, make it a little bit harder. But when you're in the in-bar and you're a little bit smaller, it's not as bad. The thing that's really hard about in-bars is getting inside the bar. I've broken this down with a few bar routines before, but in the in-bar, you've got to be pushing your body away from the bar far enough to slip your legs in the middle of the bar, and then to slip your legs in the middle of the bar. So that's difficult, but I would say the G-force might be a little bit better on your body in that skill, but nonetheless, it's still hard. And she's got to, as she's doing that toe full, notice where her toes are in line with the bar. When you're starting those pirouettes, you don't want to be starting the pirouette, if this is the bar and this are your toes, you don't want to be starting the pirouette when your toes are over the bar. Because if you're starting the pirouette once your toes get over the bar, once your momentum comes, you're not going to finish the pirouette until you're past the bar. Well, there's that angle of deduction, and you might not get value for the skill. So you have to start your pirouette before the bar, just like she is. So then when you start the pirouette here, and then you twist in your momentum, it's going to take you right to handstand, and you're going to see her do that right there. And she's even a little past handstand, so she should have started probably the pirouette a little bit sooner. Yeah, and she should have transferred her weight a little bit better. I mean, I actually think transferring the weight was fine. I just think she should have started the pirouette a little bit sooner. Like, she should be finishing the half a little earlier, so she could have finished the last half in vertical. But nonetheless, not bad, but it could have been on top of the bar better. And then she goes straight into, now she does the stalder. Okay. Stalder, pike, Tkachev. Again, pulling her legs out of the stalder. See what I mean? See where her toes are when she's letting go? This is to allow her to be at the perfect distance away from the bar to catch it. And that one was much better. She didn't catch too close. So the first half of her bar routine is super difficult, and I want to pay respect to that. And then as she moves into the rest of the bar routine, I won't say the bar routine is easy, but I will say the last half of her bar routine is a very usual level 10 college bar routine. Most college bar routines start here. They'll do maybe that same bar release, and then they'll go into a pack. They'll go into the, gosh dang, what is that skill? The shaposh half, pack, kip cash, posh half, and they'll end with the full lens. So the last half of her bar routine, not the most difficult. Not saying it's easy by any means, but not the most difficult. There's a reason all of those stuff is pretty common for high-level gymnastics, level 10, college, things like that. But the first half of her bar routine is extremely difficult. Okay, guys, that's it. Based off the information people have been giving me, given the fact that she started from a higher bonus, I think it's pretty fair that, she won. If she started from a higher start value and the deductions added up, it is what it is. It was a very earned gold bar routine. I'm not going to say she didn't deserve it because of whatever reason. I do think she wasn't as clean as Namor, and a lot of that has to do, I think Namor just stuck her dismount so well that's that last impression. And I always say that to my kids, like, the last skill, the last movement you do in your routine, it makes an impression on the judge. And that's kind of how I felt watching this, is just like the last half of Namor's bar routine was so good and clean, and then she sticks it, and it just kind of leaves this, bias thought on it, like, oh, it was a stuck dismount, must have been great. No, you have to really be disciplined as a judge to be able to evaluate the routine as a whole, and not just with that last moment was, and letting it kind of create a bias in your own mind. For me, I wasn't watching these routines as a judge because I'm not a FIG judge, so I don't care to watch it as a judge. I want to be fair when watching this stuff, absolutely. But for me, I'm watching it just as a true gymnastics lover, watching it from the audience perspective. Like, I just want to watch it with the gymnastics lover in mind versus the judge mind, But when I go back and look at it logically and at black and white, it makes sense why Qiu Qiyuan won, because she has a higher start value, and her bar routine was still clean. Just because she didn't stick her dismount and her handstands were a little past, it doesn't matter at the end of the day if the start value was high enough to afford her those mistakes. That's what really matters. And that's what elite gymnastics is about, is being able to do the difficult stuff to afford you to be a little sloppy. I mean, look at Simone. Not saying Simone's sloppy at all, but Simone, there's a reason she says my biggest competitor is myself, because even when Simone makes mistakes, when she falls, she still wins because her difficulty is so high. That's the beauty of Simone. Her difficulty is so high that she can afford to make mistakes and still win because her difficulty value affords it. So that's pretty much my thoughts on her. A really great bar routine. China is known for its bar workers, man. They've always been really great. And I've always really admired their bar work. Bars is my favorite event. It was my favorite event to do. It's my favorite event to coach. Ironically, my least favorite to judge because it's really fast and hard, but nonetheless, China has earned a lot of respect from the gymnastics community in terms of how good they are at bars, and I really wanted to emulate them on bars. I always really wanted to emulate Nastia, and lo and behold, Nastia and China were always neck and neck on every international meet. So kudos to Qiu Qiyuan. She rightfully won gold, and it was a beautiful bar routine. All right, guys, that's it. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for supporting me, liking this channel. Subscribing to this channel, liking this video is what really helps supports me. Don't forget to check out my Etsy shop below, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.